Do you want the establishment's candidate, Governor Romney, or do you want somebody who stands for a conservative, populist approach that would profoundly change Washington?
That was Newt Gingrich speaking just a couple of hours ago for a look at the significance of his win. We're joined now by Geoffrey Garrett. He's the Chief Executive Officer at the United States Study Centre at the University of Sydney. Joins us now from Sydney. Geoffrey, thanks very much for your time this morning. Can we start by asking you why you think Newt Gingrich won by such a handsome margin in South Carolina?
Well, I think there are really two factors at play. One was sort of more structural, if you like. South Carolina is a very conservative state. It was always going to be a hard ask for Mitt Romney to win there. But second, last week in the US there were two pretty extraordinary debates among the Republican candidates, and Newt Gingrich did extraordinarily well. So now he's got this debate-infused momentum that helped him win South Carolina against Mitt Romney, who's got all the money, all the organisation and all the endorsements from what Newt Gingrich is calling the Republican establishment. It's now going to be a pretty interesting race, I think.
Yeah, so, and the language he was using was so confident, and it's got great momentum now. So what will be the deciding factor in this now drawn-out campaign? Will it be Newt Gingrich's newfound confidence, or will Romney's money still be a very, very powerful obstacle to overcome?
Well, it's real. Again, I think there's a big structural story at play here. You know, Mitt Romney's biggest job was running Bain Capital. It was a private equity firm in New York. Americans after the global financial crisis are mad as hell at Washington, but they're also mad at Wall Street. So what Gingrich is doing is saying, I think he called it populist conservatism. That might be a sort of fancier label for what the Tea Party stood for. These Americans who say, we are mad, we're mad at the establishment, we want to take back Washington, we want to take back the country. So that's the challenge for Romney. The challenge for Gingrich is he's got little money, little organisation, and he's got a few skeletons in his own closet. They haven't been exposed yet because all the focus has been on Romney. I think we'll see a pretty tough week or 10 days until the Florida primary, when Gingrich will continue his attacks on Romney as being a sort of the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, to use Occupy Wall Street language, whereas the Romney campaign will start trying to chip away and reminding people about the real problems that are on Gingrich's record, both personally and as a political actor.
I read a comment on in the South Carolina press online from a voter that said, we need a bulldog president, one that grabs onto the pant leg, doesn't let go till they bleed, and that's Newt. Is there the same sort of anger with voters in places like Florida, where they're going to have to go and make their arguments now?
Well, Florida is just a very different state. The scale is massive. I think it's more that there'll be more than twice as many voters in Florida as have voted in the 3 contests up until now. It's also got a sort of divided electorate. You know, the north of Florida is like the Deep South, like South Carolina, but South Florida, around Miami, it's transplants from the Northeast, it's Cuban exiles, very different electorate. So at the moment, Romney is way ahead in the polls, as he has been, of course, for a long time in Florida. The question will be, I think, whether Gingrich can use the 2 debates this week in Florida really to jumpstart his support base there. You'd have to say that there is a real chance that will happen, but it's certainly not a foregone conclusion. But that just tells us, you know, that a week is a really long time in politics. A week ago, I don't think anyone would have expected Gingrich to do as well in South Carolina as he did. A stunning victory. Let's see what happens a week from today.
Let's take a look at the broader picture now. Chris Christie says that Newt Gingrich has embarrassed the party before, and you talk about skeletons in the closet there for Newt Gingrich. Is President Obama barracking for Gingrich in this race?
I think the Obama team would be barracking for 2 things. First, that this is the Republican nomination battle is long, drawn out, a slugfest in which both sides tear strips from each other, and in particular that Gingrich continues this claim that Romney is a Wall Street job killer. Because that's a line that Obama would use in the fall. Now, if Gingrich wins that battle and becomes the nominee, I think Obama would really like his chances there, because Gingrich is appealing essentially to red meat conservatives. It doesn't look like that would play well in the middle of the American electorate. And in addition to the skeletons in the Gingrich closet, he's just a volatile guy. And over a really long, drawn-out campaign, I think a lot of people would expect him to blow up at least once, and that'd play well to Obama. No drama, Obama.
Well, it'll be fun to watch anyway. Geoffrey Garrett, we appreciate your analysis this morning.
My pleasure.